In 46 days, Zohran Mamdani will be sworn in as New York City's 111th mayor. Everyone's waiting to see how the Democratic Socialist will turn his progressive promises into reality. Our guest on this Sunday, Manhattan Assemblyman Harvey Epstein, who just won a city council seat. Why he says economic justice is more than a political slogan. Plus, Dawn Pinnock, president of the Center for Urban Community Services, is also with us. She explains what the nonprofit sector wants to see from new leadership in City Hall. And later, a look back at when Zohran Mamdani went on a 15-day hunger strike in solidarity with cab drivers overwhelmed with debt. All that and more in a moment. But first, the mayor-elect's leadership team is starting to take shape. Two top positions now filled: First Deputy Mayor and Chief of Staff. Here's Dan Rivoli.
Two leaders who have deep experience guiding our city and state through challenging moments, possess the fresh, innovative ideas needed to transform our city.
An experienced government hand and a trusted peer from his inner circle, the first choices for Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani's administration, announced at the Roosevelt House in Manhattan, where Franklin Roosevelt planned the New Deal. Dean Foulahan will be first deputy mayor. He's a 74-year-old veteran of de Blasio's City Hall with decades of Albany experience. Elle Bisgard Church, 34, was named chief of staff at City Hall. She ran Mamdani's assembly office and his primary campaign.
Looking at their records gives me immense confidence in their ability to do both the work that has animated the campaign over the course of this more than a year, and also work that illustrates a recognition that has too often been missing in city government, that there is no concern too small to be that of importance to those of us within City Hall.
Mamdani said they will be focusing on his campaign promises: free childcare, a freeze in rent for stabilized units, and free buses. It's an effort that'll require surmounting opposition to new tax increases to pay for it all. Part of that opposition is coming from Governor Kathy Hochul. Foulahan was chief budget negotiator for the State Assembly in Albany. He was also Mayor de Blasio's budget chief and his first deputy who funded the city's universal pre-kindergarten program. Foulahan said when it comes to obstinate Albany leaders, he's been there before.
I do have experience there. I've been told many times in the past things could not happen, and directly, and that's not what we're being told. We're being told, let's have a conversation, and that's what we're going to do.
Mamdani called Bisgard Church his moral compass and brilliant strategic center.
The incoming administration offers bold vision combined with determined realism.
After the announcement, the three dined at Chamoun's Way, a Lebanese restaurant. Foulahan's father and maternal grandparents are from Lebanon. Mamdani, an immigrant and naturalized citizen, noted that background in his remarks, saying they both share a vision for the city through the prism of the immigrant experience.
That's Dan Rivoli reporting for us on this Sunday. Let's begin today's conversation with Manhattan Assemblyman Harvey Epstein. Assemblyman, thanks for being here and congratulations. You just won a city council seat representing the Lower East Side.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me on here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And you were at Somos. Our last show was on location in Somos in Puerto Rico. And I want to share this photo that you posted on social media with Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. Tell us about the conversation.
So Zohran and I have been assembly members for 4 years together in Albany. We've had a strong working relationship together. A lot of the issues he fights for, I've been fighting for. So it was great just to catch up with him there, congratulate him after his big victory, and to talk about things that we can be doing to make our city a better place.
Yeah, and one of the things that you are really focused on, you just wrote an op-ed in the Daily News, economic justice. That's one of your big things, along with climate change and other things. But economic justice, you wrote an op-ed about it. Tell our viewers what you want to see from the incoming Mamdani administration as it relates to economic justice.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think we have an opportunity right now to have this mayor have a real focus on, you know, we talk about a lot about public safety, but economic justice is what we're talking about. How does New York become an affordable place? And to make sure that there's someone who's really focused on it, whether it's around issues related to health issues or workers' rights or consumer protection, someone really globally focusing on economic justice. So it's agencies are talking to each other, whether that impacts regular New Yorkers, whether it's something that's dealing with an H&H issue or consumer rights or worker protections. Across the board, we need to talk about economic justice because we need people to be able to afford to live in our great city. And what we've seen is a lot of focus on affordable housing, which I care deeply about. But if people don't have the ability to make sure they get their wages paid, make sure that they have the protections they need, their hospital bills don't put them into foreclosure, making sure that they can stay in the communities that they're from, if we don't think about those issues, we're never going to be able to be in a better place in 4 years.
So you represent the Lower East Side and East Manhattan as overall, and those are some of the highest rents in the city.
Yeah.
You can barely find affordable housing outside of public housing and regulated apartments.
Right.
And what do you want to see change in your district?
Well, I think there's two things. One is I represent a lot of public housing, and it's really important to talk about how we save public housing. I represent a lot of middle-income housing developments like called Mitchell-Lamas. We haven't built a new Mitchell-Lama program in 50 years. We also have government land that's underutilized. Why are we not building affordable housing, supportive housing on those government-owned and operated sites? Lots of things we can be doing on the housing front to make New York a bit more affordable for people who want to stay here. My kids who were born and raised in the neighborhood, as adults, will not be able to live there.
Right.
They cannot afford to live in my community. And what we need to do is really do it differently, bring tens of thousands of affordable units online to help those folks.
You know, and Mayor-elect Mamdani has a lot of ambitious plans, most notably the free buses and so forth, but he's going to need Albany's help. Now, you're moving from Albany back to City Hall, but read the tea leaves for us. Do you think the support is there? Especially for his free buses,
Right.
especially in light of what Governor Hochul said in Puerto Rico, that she doesn't really see. I mean, she didn't outright reject it, but she indicated we all need to pump our brakes on some of these plans.
Yeah, I think what we have to do is talk about an affordability agenda and figure out what our priorities are this year. Is it childcare? Is it buses? Is it increasing taxes? You know, in a moment where we're losing federal dollars every single day. And we need to fight for those issues and say, okay, this is the issue we're fighting for this year. And help the new mayor to get those things done. And to say to our friends and colleagues in Albany, this is our top priority this year, whether it's the free buses, whether it's the childcare, help us get this done for all of New Yorkers.
Yeah, I want to switch gears quickly and talk about small businesses in your district.
Yeah, sure.
They cannot afford the commercial rents. They are out of control.
Right.
And what would you like to see in that respect to stop the rents that are soaring?
Yeah, no, you know, in Albany, I've had a bill about commercial rent regulation. Obviously, it's a really hard thing to deal with.
Right.
But I do think there's an opportunity to have a one-stop shopping for small businesses. Like you have a small business, you may have to deal with the health department, you may have to do the buildings department, you may have to do with human rights department, and you have to go through all 15 different agencies to figure out what the issues are to run your business. We need to make sure it's easier for businesses to open and to stay open, to have a business navigator who helps you navigate all the issues in the city, helps you figure out what permits you need, and helps you move that process forward.
There are so many mom and pop businesses, Lower East Side, gone quickly.
Yeah.
You're a public school parent. What do you want to see in terms of the next chancellor? Yeah,
I would love to see a chancellor who cares about struggling students. I'm dyslexic myself, and I understand how learning challenges impact people. If you look at our prison industrial complex, an overwhelming number of people who are incarcerated have learning disabilities. We need to get to them early with early intervention and early support. I'd love to see a chancellor focusing on that.
Councilman-elect Harvey Epstein, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Still to come.
Urban League Empowerment Center right here in Harlem, USA.
Oh, a special ceremony for the new headquarters of the National Urban League. The civil rights organization returns to its uptown roots. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Our next guest is Lorelei Salas, adjunct professor at the Colin Powell City College Economics and Business Department. Professor, good to see you.
Great to see you too.
You know, in our prior segment, Assemblyman Harvey Epstein was on, and he was talking about the op-ed that both of you wrote about economic justice. What's your advice as an expert in this field for Mayor-elect Mamdani?
Well, I've worked for a number of years for both the New York City government and also for the federal government. And Mayor Mamdani has a really very ambitious agenda for protecting consumers and workers and small businesses. And I think he is going to need someone close to him in City Hall, coordinating all the efforts to deliver economic justice to New Yorkers, to our small businesses, to hardworking New Yorkers who are trying to keep their jobs and who want to do so free of discrimination. It is going to be an important role, one that can help coordinate all the agencies and programs that touch New Yorkers in their everyday lives.
What do you make of his transition team so far? Do you feel all of the right pieces are falling into place?
Well, what I'm seeing is really great folks being brought into government. There is already a lot of great talent in New York City government, but also a lot of talent outside who wants to be part of this very ambitious administration and who really want to help him succeed.
Now, in your op-ed, you discussed the need for a new role that tackles economic justice. Explain.
Well, what we ask for in the op-ed is that there should be a new deputy mayor's office for economic justice. There hasn't been a senior role like that at City Hall in the past. And if you, as you are promising in the campaign, asking or wanting to give workers in New York City protections from deceptive, abusive practices, and you want to also protect homeowners from potential deed theft and protect workers to make sure that they can access all their rights under city law without fear of discrimination, you need to have a deputy mayor who is going to coordinate all the strategies across these agencies and make sure that the priorities are clear, the goals are set, and that they prioritize this work to make sure that everyday New Yorkers are at the center of all of the policy making and the services that are being delivered.
And we should note, Professor, that you were the commissioner of the Department of Consumer and Worker Protections, right? And you want to see the incoming Mamdani administration double its capacity, calling for more investigators and inspectors and attorneys. And why are you calling for that?
Well, I can tell you that both the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection and the City Commission on Human Rights and even the Office of Small Business Services have been underfunded for a number of years. They have huge missions to protect New Yorkers, and they don't have the capacity and the staff to go and investigate all of the complaints that come in. I think that doubling the staff of the agencies would allow them to keep doing the great work they've been doing, but to also take on the additional mandates or programs that Mayor Mamdani is proposing in his platform. So I do think that in order to see all of those protections realized for New Yorkers, you will have to make the right investments in the budget for these agencies.
Lorelei Salas, professor at City College. Appreciate your time. Time for another break. In Focus continues right after this. And now, a flashback from our New York One archives. October 29th, 2021, 4 years ago. Zohran Mamdani talks with a podcaster about his hunger strike to draw attention to cabbies overwhelmed with debt.
The taxi drivers that I'm standing in solidarity with, that I'm hunger striking in solidarity with, are fighting for New York City to change their debt relief proposal to include a city-backed guarantee.
During his 2021 interview with Brianna Joy Gray, Mamdani had not eaten for 7 straight days.
I have weird fixations. I think about biscuits, ice cream, biryani, anything, frankly. Candles all of a sudden smell so much better because it feels like taste.
We want justice!
Taxi drivers demonstrated outside of City Hall around the clock 4 years ago, saying app-based services like Uber and Lyft made their pricey medallions essentially worthless, and they were drowning in debt.
They allow over 100,000 cars to just do exactly what we're doing. If I pay for a license, you should pay for a license too.
9 taxi drivers ended their lives during the years-long crisis. And Mamdani explained back then how the situation got so out of control.
The city puts a 5% transfer tax on every medallion sale. So if you're buying a medallion for $1 million, all of a sudden you're paying an additional $50,000 to the city just for processing.
After 45 days of protests and a 2-week hunger strike, the de Blasio administration reached a deal with the New York Taxi Workers Alliance and the largest medallion lender to forgive $250 million in debt.
I vote for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And on Election Day, analysts believe it was cabbies who helped drive the mayor-elect's success at the polls. Welcome back to In Focus as we discuss what New Yorkers can expect from the incoming Mamdani administration. Joining us now is Dawn Pinnock, President and CEO of the Center for Urban Community Services. Hey, Dawn, great to meet you and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You know, you worked in government for almost 30 years and now you're in the nonprofit sector. And nonprofits will need to work with the Mamdani administration because right now they're the safety net for so many New Yorkers with the SNAP crisis and all that's going on. What do you want to see from the incoming Mamdani administration as it relates to the nonprofit sector?
So thank you for that. We certainly serve as the safety net, as you mentioned. And so really what we're looking for is meaningful partnership. Over the course of this last administration, nonprofits, including CUCS, have really fostered great relationships with city government. And so we're hopeful that as we usher in a new team of leadership, that we will be able to build upon some of the great work that we've done. And despite the work that we've done, there's still more that we would like to see happen, specifically around pay parity for our workers who perform similar work to our city counterparts. We would also like to see the scaling up of models that we have built over time, specifically relating to street outreach, street psychiatry, and intensive mobile treatment.
Yeah, and you're laser focused on the homelessness crisis and mental health. Tell us more about that.
And so with us, one of the reasons why our model at CUCS is successful is because it's holistic. We're very clear that homelessness is not a singular issue. There wasn't just this one bad decision that someone has made that has resulted in them being homeless. And so what we do, we have an integrated approach that's really centered around our clients' goals. So we provide mental health, primary care, we provide workforce readiness skills, in addition to supportive housing that's permanent and transitional housing.
Yeah, and as a former city commissioner, you know the importance of partnerships within the city government and nonprofits. And what's your advice again to the transition team as they start to organize who's going where and plugging in all of these key positions?
I have to say that I'm very excited about the selections I've seen so far by the mayor-elect. I'm having the awesome privilege of working with 3 of the amazing women on his transition team. As it relates to partnership, they get it. They've worked in government for a very long time. They have solid business acumen, but they've also worked on the nonprofit side. And so government is really designed to focus on the collective, right? You know, all of the residents, but they can't operate with the same level of flexibility as a nonprofit in order to meet that individual where they are.
And what do you make of Mayor-elect Mamdani? He skipped the Veterans Day parade and instead he went to the Bronx to serve meals to homeless vets. I think that sent a resounding message to people who do what you do, that we need to amplify the work, you know, not that there's something wrong with parades, but we need to amplify the work of these nonprofits who are saving military veterans.
I agree with you. It sent a very inspiring message, and being the daughter of a veteran, knowing full well how people have made sacrifices for this country, for the mayor-elect to decide not to party. You know, like you said, there's nothing wrong with a parade, but really roll up his sleeves and get down to work. I thought it sent a really great message to New Yorkers.
Do you think Mayor-elect Mamdani is realistic, especially when it comes to those free buses? And because Governor Hochul, as we all know now, during the Somos conference, said that, you know, she kind of threw water on the plan, suggesting that, you know, she's not automatically signing off on the notion of free city buses. As someone who's experienced in this space, government and nonprofit, do you think it's realistic?
I honestly don't know, but what I would say is that I wouldn't count him out. I think that he led a very inspiring and ambitious campaign. I think that very early on in the polls, many individuals thought that he would not get to this point. And so I think it's really a matter of us just waiting and seeing.
Yeah, waiting and seeing is what it's going to be. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about your CUCS model and how it's changing lives.
We provide integrated care. We really consider it to be a continuum of care. So we have individuals who meet you on the street, our street outreach teams, where they try to first convince someone to just come inside, where it's safe, where it's warm. We also have street mobile medicine, where we are able to treat people on the streets of New York, and street psychiatrists that meet people literally where they are to really help them achieve greater mental health. Separate and apart from that, we have supportive housing, which is permanent housing, where you pass our buildings and it looks like an apartment building because it is. Our clients are leaseholders, and we provide them with the wraparound skills and supports that they need in order to maintain stably housed. I'm really proud of our team. We have a 98% retention rate after placing someone in permanent housing. So it really shows that when you address homelessness in a way that's not short-sighted and holistic, you can really make systemic changes.
Okay, and hopefully you'll take it to the next level as the new administration takes
That's our
hold,
goal.
because you need their support, that's for
Yes.
sure. Dawn Pinnock, President and CEO of the Center for Urban Community Services. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And now our final focus. The National Urban League returns home to its roots in Harlem.
Urban League Empowerment Center right here in Harlem, USA.
A grand opening last Wednesday for the Urban League Empowerment Center on 125th Street. The 17-story complex also has affordable housing and commercial space.
The animating force is we have to practice what we preach. So we preach ownership. We preach economic development. We preach jobs. This project is about ownership. This project is about economic development. This project is about jobs. And so by making a statement, we were also saying it's time to greenline Harlem, as opposed to the redlining we see in too many communities, not only in New York City, but all across the nation.
Yeah, it's a full circle moment for the nonprofit organization. The National Urban League was founded in Harlem back in 1910, but later moved its headquarters down to Lower Manhattan. And this summer, the group will unveil New York City's first civil rights museum. Thanks so much for watching In Focus. I'm Cheryl Wills. We appreciate you spending your Sunday with us.